Kentish Wedding Tragedy by Roman Reflections. Dressed up as a bride and groom, two firemen have a lark for every annual summer fete held in Gillingham Park. Each year, on the final day, they would hold a big finale, a mock-up house with big smoke flames to engulf a wedding party. Young members of the naval cadets and the local Sea Scouts would volunteer to be the guests with rehearsed dramatic screams and shouts. Every year they'd enjoy a fire safety demonstration, and every local knew the ropes. It was always a sensation. Firemen manned all 3 floors to guide the guests to safety, while flares and smoke bombs simulated a wedding party tragedy. The bride and groom and all their guests enjoyed their purpose to amuse, drawing crowds around the house, raising funds for St. Bartholomew's. The kids that had been demonstrating all the skills that they had learnt were excited to be volunteers, pretending to get burnt. The spectacle would be such fun, and money would be raised, and the prowess would be witnessed of their local fire brigade. Firemen dressed up as guests would set off smoke on every floor. The screaming guests would hurry to the roof and shout some more. And once they'd all escaped the fire due to the local heroes, the house would then become a pyre before everyone went home. The July 1929, as every year before it, drew enthusiastic volunteers from the boys who would enjoy it. The fire brigade set up the house, the smoke bombs and the flares, and stationed men on every floor to stage the pretend flames. The bride and groom and all their guests braced for their celebrations, took their cue from gathering crowds and performed their tribulations. The crowds, they laughed and clapped their hands. The acting was tremendous. The boys and men screamed their best. The flames authentically intense. A little girl screamed from the crowd. Her brother, he was burning. The excitement this year was the best. It had never looked so genuine. The firemen soon realised this was no simulation. The flames were real, as were the screams. They assessed the situation. A searchlight used to gauge the risk shocked the baying crowd. The laughter turned to horror as the danger was discerned. The heat was so, the ladders failed, the rescue men thrown back. Of the 15 volunteers, only 2 got out. One brave survivor, just before he died, asked his dad about his friends. His dad had no time to lie. Firemen and all the boys, some as young as 10, lost their lives in the name of fun. The wedding never happened again. The spectators' lives were changed forever by the horror they had seen. Their children begging for their lives. It never should have been. A symbol of hope staged every year to entertain and demonstrate how firemen could save our lives, succumbed to such a twist of fate. It took over 80 years and a compassionate campaigner, but Medway placed a memorial in honour of those who died. Their graves restored, their stories shared, a memorial in the park, the site of such a tragic loss, a wedding put on for a lark.